Hi, everybody. It's Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and welcome to PoliTarology. Okay, that was a little alarming, but I didn't realize how jarring that was going to be, but it is. It is what it is. And welcome, everybody, to PoliTarology. Thank you for joining me, my wonderful guest, Sibyl Harmony, and my sister, Cleo the Seer. And I'm going to have each of them let you know what's going on with their channels. So, Sibyl, welcome. And what's going on with you?
Well, I've been super busy, loving this energy in December. I've been doing classes. I have another class coming in January on the 21st. I'm doing a meditation for the solstice, but it's going to be either on the 21st or the 23rd. So check in my community page. I have a channel on YouTube, so you can check there. You can go to my website, sibylharmony.com. And yeah, I'm really super excited to be here with you all and do this video today. It's good energy and some good stuff we're looking at. What's going on politically?
Yeah. It's going to be really good. And Cleo, what's going on for you?
Well, lots of PoliTarologies from now until the end of the month. And on Tuesday, you and I are going to be doing the PoliTarology with a twist, where you're going to be talking about the astrological charts of different politicians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on Tuesday. And on Thursday, I'm doing Golden Girls. And then on Friday, I'm doing another PoliTarology with you and Marina. And on Monday, I'm doing a Mystic 4. So I'm pretty much booked up for the rest of the week.
Oh my gosh, you're busier than I am. That's crazy. I'm just getting
because you work full time.
Yeah, well, I do that too. But okay, I just want to make sure I got all of your tags so I can put them in the description. So when after the replay, everybody's links for their channels will be in the description for this video. So if you're watching this on replay, hello, thank you for watching on replay.
Yeah.
And we will have links in the description.
And let's hear a little bit about you, Colleen. What have you been up to? And for my viewers who haven't seen you before or seen Cleo before, can you tell a little bit about yourself?
Oh, good. Thank you, Sibyl. So so I'm Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone. And on our channel, we do PoliTarology pretty much every Friday night. And sometimes we even do a couple of midweek shows. On the first and third Friday of every month, we have our regular gang, which is Cleo and Gerald from Tarot Stash, Sherry from Voices from the Swamp, and Val from Dragonfly Crystals. And she has a second channel called Next Level Channeling. And we get together twice every month. And then on the other Fridays, I invite other people to come in. And we also do PoliTarology sometimes midweek. Like this week, for instance, Cleo and I are going to do a show on Tuesday because I have all these leftover astrological charts that I need to talk about before we hit the full moon in Cancer and before we get into the new year. So we're going to be doing that. And I think, what's the date? The 10th. I think by next weekend, I will have my astrology overview for 2024 up on my channel. And of course, monthly astrology, full moon astrology, always. And for 2024, I'm introducing memberships. That's new. So I'm getting ready to set all that up. That's going to be very exciting. And one last show that I'm getting ready to plan, which I hope to begin in January, is a program to get readers together to collectively visualize a better world.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So I haven't come up with a catchy name for it. And maybe it's too serious of a topic to have a catchy name. I don't really know yet. I guess I'll just wait to see what comes. But the plan is to have a rotating cast of people who are psychics, readers, divinators, whatever, come on, healers too, because I know a lot of people who are healers that I'd like to bring on to do this. Discuss one area of the world or of life that we'd like to see improved, like healthcare or the wars or climate change or politics, or just really try to focus in on one area of life
Oh, nice.
and discuss what would it be like if it weren't like it was.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
let's think about how could we visualize this beautiful new way of having things, and then I'll lead us all through a guided visualization to really focus on that and really put our energy into that. And I feel like doing that with not only people on screen, but also the people who will watch this show, I hope that all of our collective energy will begin to move things in that direction.
I love that. That's
Wow.
so amazing how one psychic or one healer is doing that, and then other people are getting the hit, because I feel like it's time for that energy and it puts it out, because that's what I'm going to be doing in my meditations, part of that. But I'm also going to be focused on people. How do you raise your vibration to heal yourself, to
Nice.
manifest, to create a better world as we raise our collective vibration? Because everything is about frequency.
Mhm.
And so that's what I'm going to be doing in my broadcast. So interesting, we're on the same, because we've been, like, when we talked before, you said about your last couple of days, I'm like, oh my God, that's kind of what happened to me. And then we
Yeah.
were talking about other things that
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
have matches, energy matches. And that's how we connect with people and make friends or associates or jobs or relationships, because we're a vibrational match. And I
Mhm.
always felt, I just love doing shows with you. I just felt like you have such good energy. I just felt like
Okay.
she's a vibrational match. And I just felt really good about asking you to do this again. So thank you for
Yeah.
having
Thank
me come
you.
on your show.
Yeah.
And yeah, really,
Yeah. I'm always
really
trying
excited
to
to be.
figure out a way, because I feel this when we get together with other readers, and when you get the people in the chat, I always feel like I read better than usual. It's like the whole
Okay.
energy comes together, and it
Yeah.
kind of feeds the whole collective energy. And at first I was like, am I just like a psychic vampire? Am I sucking energy off of people? but nobody
No,
is harmed, and
no,
it
don't
just
say that. Yeah.
it just feels good. It just
No,
feels like,
it's like adding to the
yeah.
vibration of the mystic, the divine
Mhm,
feminine,
mhm.
the compassionate, the higher frequencies. There's so many people in the chat, and
Oh,
Wow.
I
there are?
can't.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow, great.
I
Oh,
mean,
I
I
should
see
look
a
at it.
lot of people saying hello, everybody. I would be typing hello, except my mouse is inactivated, so I can't do that right now. Mercury
Yeah,
retrograde.
we're
I just
getting all of
wanted to, I just wanted to mention real quick that I am streaming this show today onto my channel,
Great.
and I'd really appreciate it if somebody would watch it from my channel too. And also, if you go to my channel, you go to the homepage, it won't be anything. You have to click on the live to get to this feed.
Okay, what's your channel name, so if they want to go there?
Cleo the Seer.
Oh, okay, right.
the
There,
other
right
thing.
there on
Yeah.
the screen. Well,
Yeah.
there's little bulbs in front of your name.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat.
That's Colleen's Christmas decorations here at the bottom. It makes it look like my top has lights on it, but
Yeah, right. I know.
that's
I look.
good.
I
feel
have one in
festive.
my head. Look, I have
Oh,
one
they're
in my head
typing it
now.
out now. Oh, no, you typed it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Rick and Rose and Wendy and Vivian,
Oh,
and I
wow,
saw
look at
Sharon and
this. This is
Ricky and
great.
Linda. So many people here.
Okay.
Sherry,
I'm
Rose.
gonna star some of these. We do have a couple of questions, so I'm gonna
Okay.
star them. Or they might be comments, but they look like they might be questions too. Let's see, what else do we have here? Kevin takes campaign dollars with him. Ooh, okay, we'll do that.
What is it?
Oh, okay. I'll get give me 1 second. Viviani, can I do that while I'm on? Do I have to go back to my channel? I think I have to go back to my channel. Okay, hold on 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves, please.
Okay, please share 3 channels. Please hit the button and subscribe. Oh, okay, yeah. Janet P, hi. Connie B, hi. Carrie G, hello. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining the party. It's busy here. Modern Mystic watching on Cleo's channel. Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Ricky,
Great.
Callie. Hi, everyone. Just come from another channel. Okay. Modern Mystic, Coyote Rosebomb. I love that name. Hi, everyone. Carolyn Gallagher. Hi, Sibyl. Hi. Vivienne. Hi, Cheryl. Modern Mystic. Ricky. Coyote Rosebomb. Hi, Foxy Roxy. Hi, Cleo. Rose Blue. Hi, y'all. Hi, y'all here. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
Okay. I think Annie was talking to you, Cleo. She was saying you could add her as a moderator. She's already a moderator on my channel.
Okay. So is somebody Tarot Statch, howdy, Gina Nolan, hi Sibyl, hi all. So you can post questions on here. We're taking questions.
Yeah, we're taking questions.
Okay. We're also going to look at the presidential candidates.
Yes, we are.
Okay, we'll see what you got. I did a show earlier today, and I want to see. We're all reading all the time on this, but I want to see what astrology says. So that's what I'm. It's funny how they match up. There's Connie B. Hi, Gerald Turostach, Annie Hamlet. Oh, will Congress be impeached? Will Congress impeach Biden?
They're gonna try.
What are we gonna read on?
Okay, so first, we have let's see. Rose Blue said 45 chickened out of testifying tomorrow. I saw Colorado appeal hearing this AM. It was yesterday, and DC upheld the gag order. So what's I think the question is then what's gonna happen with 45? I read too, I saw I think it was a New York Times headline. He's just flat out telling them that he's just not going to play anymore. He's not going to come to the case. He's not going to testify. He's just like, he's done.
Colleen, could I ask you something real quick? I'm sorry to interrupt the flow here, but you said something about somebody being a moderator. Do I have to do something to make that happen?
Yeah, you'd have to go over to your channel, mute it so that you don't have two streams going on at the same time, and find her name. I think it's Annie Hamlet. Find her name in the comments, right click, and add her as a moderator.
Okay, I'm going to go do that while you guys are.
Okay. Great. Boy,
so what's the question?
So the question is, what's going to happen to 45? Because he's saying he's just, not only is he not going to testify, and this is in the case, I think, before Judge Ngoron, the one about the Trump org where they've, done fraud and they're trying to determine damages. And Trump was supposed to come back and testify. And he just said, no, I'm not doing it.
He always says he will, and then he doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
Because he knows he's going to be caught in perjury.
Yeah, of course.
And he's going to make it worse. Every time he opens his mouth in an event or campaign or interview, whatever, he makes it worse.
He does make it worse. But will there be any repercussions for that?
Okay, so what's going to happen with him not testifying with that case?
Yeah, it's for that case. What's going to happen if he doesn't testify? When he was told to come back, I believe he was told to come back and testify.
Oh, you believe? Okay.
I think so. So what's going to happen with that? Oh God, this is the worst.
I don't think he is. I don't think he is because no.
So what's going to happen?
If he doesn't testify, he doesn't have to. The lawyer doesn't want him to testify.
Oh, so he doesn't have to. Oh, okay.
No.
So
but what's going to happen with the case?
Well, that's a good one. Let me reshuffle on that.
Okay. By the way, whoever was wanting to do the moderator thing, I don't know how to set it up, and it looks to me like there's a lot of stuff to do with it, and I'll learn about that. So thank you. I want you to do that, but I don't know how to set it up.
No problem, Cleo. It's a little nerve-wracking to do it on the fly. I understand.
I got something.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the case was already decided before it was heard. The judge decided that he was guilty of civil offenses, not criminally guilty.
Right.
but that he would be fined. So the court case is just about how much
Right.
you have to pay. They said they were going to bring all this evidence, and they had people getting in there and people getting up there and saying, well, I don't see that, but none of that flew. It's not going to fly. The case has been decided. And he's so upset because his money is everything. And then he goes out and every in between and says something. So in a way, he's kind of testifying when he goes out in front of the cameras on every break possible, or when anything happens. He didn't even need to be there. He does not need to testify. And lawyers don't want him to testify because they're not that stupid. And sorry. But, so anyway, what I got is this is about money. And it's also about, they know he's hooked up with these dictators and other countries. This is also my card for Russia. So people are just done with letting him get away with stuff. So they brought the case, they're done with him. They're done with him. He is foreign dark money. We have Republicans in this country that are dark money. That's American money. So corporations running America. But this is foreign dark money. That's who he's connected with. And he's not even really that connected to them because he doesn't listen to anybody. So this is his money. Okay. His foreign connections, the dark money, all the stuff he's doing with his money, all the stuff he's doing that's illegitimate. So he's going to have a loss. He's going to have a loss here. They're not going to take everything, but this is loss. He will be unhappy with it, and his businesses will have to leave the state of New York.
Okay.
He will walk away from these businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I have I pulled just a few cards too, and his choices he's making, I got the Two of Pentacles reversed, and usually I don't have reversals. So his choices are just bad. Every choice along the way that he's made, especially on this case, just wrong, just bad, just not helping him. And then I got the Empress, which I think for me right now is representing the state of New York, the Empire State. She's the Empress of the Empire. And I think that the state of New York is just saying, no, you just don't get to do this anymore. And they're literally kicking him out. They're really just kicking him out.
Yes.
So we have the Knight of Pentacles, which is a sort of an immature energy in Pentacles. It's not someone who is wanting to play by the rules and do everything on the up and up. He wants to do things his own way. And he thinks that he's going to get away with something, but he's really not. And I did a little searching, and most of his businesses are registered as New York businesses in Trump.org. So I don't know what that's going to leave him with, because all of his properties are owned by Trump.org, except for I think the one in Scotland might not be. It might be owned in some other capacity, but and I don't know how the foreign ones are owned, but the ones in the United States, like Chicago and in Mar-a-Lago and New Jersey and New York and all over the place, all of those hotels and casinos and all that stuff, that's all Trump.org. So I don't know what they're going to leave him with. Maybe the foreign stuff, because that doesn't come under New York. But they're going to take away all of his business licenses. The one thing that I heard the lawyers who talk about this, guessing, is that maybe they won't turn him over for title. Just let the chips fall where they may, and maybe
that's where I saw he get off with something.
Yeah, they leave him something. They'll let the IRS do their own dancing.
Are you guys talking about the one where he has inflated the value of all his properties?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's just going to continue to appeal.
Yeah.
Just in order to push it out, in order to, so that they can't come up with something. But they're talking about $250 million in fines, right?
I don't know what the amount is.
The bottom, I think that was the low floor of what Letitia James said. That's the least that she would accept. So it starts at 250 mil and goes up, I believe. And so
they've done every trick in the book to try to act like this isn't a big deal. Like they had the bank come in and the bank said, hey, he borrowed the money and we're fine with it and he paid it back. And they're like, that's not the point. The point
Well-
is he fraudulently submitted information about the properties that was not true. So, so I mean, it's just this back and forth. He'll continue to do everything he can to push it out so that they can't come up with something, but he's not going to make it. Come next year, this will be decided.
Yeah, I think so. I think it will be decided in 2024. For one thing, I think that he is having a very hard time finding attorneys who will represent him. And, he already threw this one guy on this case. He threw him under the bus for something that he did. But he's also, the money that he's using to pay for these things, the way he's paying for them is illegal because he's paying for them out of a PAC, a super fund that is supposed to be earmarked for political stuff. And even though he has a big disclaimer on the website that says, only like $1 out of 100 is going to go for my political campaign, and all the rest of the money can be spent at my discretion. Even though he says that just flies in the face of election finance law.
But he's saying that all these cases are coming up to interfere with his.
That doesn't make it election law,
Well,
though.
that's what he's basing his stuff on.
Right. But that doesn't matter to the courts. The courts actually follow the law. Donald Trump doesn't. So, I wonder how long he will be able to appeal these things when he doesn't have clean money to pay for the lawyers. And to pay for the fines. How's he supposed to pay the fines? Because they're going to, just like with, I think it was E. Jean Carroll, they forced him to put money into a bond or in an escrow account or something to hold it while they appealed. So he had to put up the money to make sure that they got some money. And I bet they do the same thing with this. They're going to insist that he put up some money even if he appeals. And none of that money is clean. So
he's got a lot of money hidden.
You think he's going to pull that out and allow them to see those transactions so that they can find out where that money is?
No, I don't. But he did take out what was it, a month ago? He took out $40 million, and everybody was like, okay, well, where did that come from? What are you using that for?
It came out of his capital account at Trump.org. And somehow they did it under the radar of the monitor who has been assigned to watch them. And now they're on the carpet for it. They're saying, bring all that back. You can't use that. And notice you're not hearing about that in the news, but that is what they said.
I see money buried in like suitcases.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, everybody thinks there's money in the grave of his ex-wife that's buried in the golf course.
I think he has documents there.
Yeah,
and gold bricks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm seeing symbolically money buried or hidden in suitcases, but that doesn't mean it's literal. It may be hidden somewhere else because you can't really put a suitcase in the ground; it'll get ruined.
Yeah,
it's in the coffin.
It's gold bars in the coffin.
Yeah, that's what I think. And documents. I think you're right about documents. I think it's documents and gold in Ivana's coffin.
Yeah, and then there's some place also somewhere like places where other documents are buried along, like where mob places do get rid of stuff, like near a busy road but out of sight. So you don't have to travel real far, but you can go around like these trees or this old shack. And I see like there's something there.
That's probably New Jersey. That's probably New Jersey.
He probably doesn't even remember everywhere he put stuff.
Well, and there's a possibility.
Well, the big ones he remembers, but he won't as he gets more dementia and more cuckoo-luku.
They said that they buried the ex-wife, in the golf course, but did they? Who would know? I think that
I think her ashes are there. There's something there, but they put it separate because he doesn't, he's a germaphobe. He doesn't want a body rotting on top of documents that he can show to people and get attention or sell. So he probably has ashes or has them, like I see a separate compartment for other stuff.
I think that was a very special coffin they had built for her.
Yes.
Very special.
Yeah, she was That was not an accident. That was a message. And he basically just thumbed his nose at whatever. So somebody sent a message. She was not a.
You mean the tumble down the stairs was not an accident?
No, and she was writing another book, so.
Oh.
And they wanted to send a message to shut him up, but nothing shuts him up. Somebody was trying to, because there's big money, there's dark money, there's different influences trying to influence things, but somebody, I don't know who it was, for entertainment purposes only. I just feel like it just, there's I just saw that and I go, there's somebody, or at least a couple guys behind her. I don't even want to know who did that. I don't know, but it was not an accident. I know that.
So given that, do you think that he would use that money somehow to pay, like, for the bond or whatever it is, to while he appeals the case? Because what do? You walk into the DA's office with a suitcase full of money and say, "Here's my fine." That's odd. That's odd for a guy like him.
No, what he's going to do is he'll use his campaign money as much as he can, as often as he can. But you know, he's not gonna bring in suitcases full of money. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Blue Rose keeps saying she used an elevator and her NDA stops 4 days after she died. Yeah. Yeah. She used an elevator. Well, not that time. Yeah. So, like, why was she on the stairs? I don't think so. Also, Blue Rose was asking, why did they let 45 get away with this so far? Well, he put himself out there, and it's like everything is, like, why did he decide to run for president again? I think a lot of this stuff, people wouldn't have gone after him, or maybe he would have. I feel like he would have still had cases against him. Why did they let him get away with this? I don't know. Why did they let him get away with that for so long, with all the inflating properties and all that?
Well, in New York, it was a well-known open secret that that's what he was using. That is what he was doing, and at that point, their organization was just like 6 people. I mean, they weren't the biggest real estate agents or building developers or property developers, and he did do stuff. I mean, he was dancing near the edge. He filed for bankruptcy something like 9 times or something. And he bankrupted a casino. That's almost fiscally impossible.
Yeah.
To bankrupt a casino.
If he was really a smart businessman, he would have taken his inheritance, invested in some things, done really well for himself, and he would be a billionaire. Instead, he likes to fight with people. He likes to be in this limelight. He's such a narcissist, and he has to get attention. So his own desire for attention and fighting with people got him in all this trouble, because if he was really a smart businessman, he would have taken the money he got from his family, invested it in property, and he'd be sitting pretty and kind of stay away from the presidency because of all the laws he broke. Right. I mean, it's like he thought that he has so power hungry. He didn't even think he'd win for the presidency. He just was doing a publicity stunt. Right. And then when he got in there, it started to go to his head. Now he's even more dangerous because he knows how stuff works, and he can get in there, and he wants to be in control of the whole world and be the world dictator or something. So,
yep, that's right. That's all true. Everything you say is true.
Yeah,
not a smart businessman.
And that's what he was doing. Is he definitely wants to be president because he wants the power. On the other hand, he needs something to cover for. He knew this stuff was coming down. He got it even down to picking different judges who might be able to help him out.
There you go.
So he knew it was coming. So he was going to use this presidential candidacy as a shield to protect him. And so far it's worked. However, we talked about this on the last show that we did. I don't think there's a good possibility he's not going to be on the ballot.
Oh, maybe. Is he?
Maybe.
Is he going to be on the ballot?
Let's see. Let's do a reading. Let's see.
It's easier the closer something gets. I mean, because I've been reading on this for a while, and what I was seeing is that there's this fork in the road. There's this road that he's on, and then it branches off to these different possibilities, but I can't tell which of the possibilities it is. Illness, a death, 14th Amendment.
The 14th Amendment thing doesn't seem to be working out because there's too many variables there, and it's something that really shouldn't end up in a courtroom. It should end up with Congress and the Senate and all that. But
half of them ran on the insurrection too.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's the problem.
I'm like, well, how are they in office?
Exactly. Well, they are in trouble too.
There was a guy in some position that was elected in New Mexico, and he was taken off of his whatever he was elected for, city commissioner or whatever, because he was, or state senate or something. He was taken off. Probably the viewers know, because he was part of the insurrection, and you cannot hold an office if you're part of trying to take it down, the government.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at, the 14th Amendment?
No, we're looking at, wait, I lost it.
He's going to be on the ballot.
Is he going to be on the ballot?
Yeah, is he going to be on the ballot? Okay.
Or will he be the Republican nominee?
Yeah, that too. That's a good one.
Well, I pulled a few cards. I don't think it's decided. I think Sibyl's right. I think we're going to come to a fork in the road, and I believe that fork in the road is going to come on the solar eclipse in April, that's happening in 2024, because that is right before a big conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus, which really just lands straight onto Trump's chart. And I think that's also, Trump has attracted an awful lot of people who have very curious astrological connections to his chart. And so they'll probably all be pretty much affected by these things as well. So I think that you can't tell. I mean, I know he's going to work hard. He's going to put all of his, scheming con man, grifty talents to work, trying to get this to happen. But I think, in the end, he's like the little boy crying wolf. After a while, people are just not believing him. And I think this is the beginning. I think it's already begun that his MAGA followers are beginning to fall away because they see the emperor has no clothes. He's not what he says he is. He is a grifter.
Well, and I think it's interesting, Colleen, that you say that it's, way down the road, because every time I ask this question, like I said, this has been coming to me for the last week and a half. Mm-hmm. And every time I do it, I do get these variables, but I still think because because the Republicans are getting a little bit scared that if he gets indicted or if he gets found guilty, that will eliminate him as far as the Republican voters will not support that. Mm-hmm. And also that Nikki Haley has a lot of support behind her. I think she's going to be the one on the ballot and not Trump. However, it is we are on the fence with it. I mean, I can't get an absolute positive answer on that. So
right. Well, and also, I think his case with Tanya Chutkan, and doesn't this look just like her?
Yeah.
Tanya Chutkan is the high priestess of the courts, and I think the pressure that she's going to be able to exert, nice and slow and steady with every step, she has been very steady with what she has done. And I think that case comes in March. The solar eclipse is April 8th.
Starts.
Starts. And they might not be able to start right then unless they have the jury already picked. And then the conjunction is on April 20th or 21st, depending on where you are. But I think that period of time is going to influence all of these decisions. I think it's going to make it very, no, maybe not very clear at all. Maybe it'll just really like jam everything up. Maybe we'll just see it like popcorn popping, like, oh my God, what do we, like lots more stuff will come in. And I think too, that after the first of the year, I mean, there's so many people who are still like in Congress and close to Trump that are not indicted for January 6th. And I think they will be.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. I've seen different scenarios, and what my guide showed me was like the road, and then it has all these different choices. Illness, which I'm curious about his chart as far as illness, because I see some kind of a stomach illness in the hospital, getting IVs. He may try to hide it. And then a possibility of him even maybe not passing from that. Because I do see him years from now still doing the documents case. Like there's still, and he barely is even, he's like in a wheelchair and his brain isn't working and he's clutching a briefcase of old documents going, they're mine. They're my documents.
I've seen
They're
that.
not even real documents. The Secret Service just gave him a thing to hold on to so he could feel secure about having my documents. And they're not even real, but he's kind of like, I've seen him there. And then I've seen him, a lot of people have seen him too in some kind of institution or home arrest. That's a possibility. But I feel like the legal cases, so here he is going along, grifting, trying to get money, still. Then I feel like this is Jack Smith. Oh, you got somebody on ya. And this might be Tanya Chuckin. Because I asked, will he be the nominee? These are two big no and then no. Not a little no. That's a big no.
I agree.
Great. I love that.
That would be great. That would
because
be really,
I think that if he doesn't get the nomination, that is what puts him over the edge, and that's where he ends up in the hospital. That's where he ends up cuckoo-bird. And even if he does, we don't know if he has dementia or if he's just, that's the way he is. I mean, you just don't know.
How does his health look, Colleen?
It looks terrible. It looks terrible. I'll pull up his chart.
All year?
Yeah. Hang on.
Or when?
Let me find him. It's been bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really bad. Let me go to, this is the Republican convention. This is, let's see. Do we have him? There we go. This is the eclipse. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see that chart?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is his chart in blue. These are his planets in blue. And these planets in red are the solar eclipse. And you can see this big log jam, this big traffic jam up here in this part of his chart. So he has Pluto in his transiting his 6th house. Pluto is the planet that digs up everything that's weak or corrupt or corrupted or old or out of date. And so Pluto is, and the 6th house is your body, your health, your daily routines. So clearly his body, health, and daily routines are crap. So Pluto is sitting there digging it all up. And it's not like it's been there for a long time. It's been there pretty much since he left the presidency and maybe a little before. So all of this time, his health has just been getting probably worse and worse because he's probably not changing his habits at all. And that's what Pluto demands, a change, a transformation. And then he's got Saturn transiting connected to Mars in his 8th house, which, yeah, sometimes people call it the house of death. But the thing that's more important is that it's sitting it's been sitting right across from his Mars, which is on his ascendant. So when it was down here, like a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, it was really hitting his Mars. And that's probably when he was sitting in court and being really embattled in court. And this took a toll on his health as well, because it took a toll on his personality, on himself. He saw his brand, his image being really decimated in the public eye. And for him, that's a very important thing. He is really ruled by this little cluster here. This is the sun, the circle, and this thing with like the little TV antenna on it is Uranus, and they're very close together. Uranus is the ruler of this area of his chart where Pluto now is. So when Saturn and Mars were, collectively beating him up in public, this stuff was also taking a beating from Pluto, and they have been taking a beating from Pluto for a while. So yeah, health not good, not good at all. The solar eclipse, this little, like I started out with this little traffic jam of stuff up here. This includes the North Node, which is affects your destiny and where you're going in your life, your legacy, what your North Star is, what you want to achieve in life. And that's being opposed, and I think probably attempting to crush his big dreams, which is Neptune, and Jupiter, which is his wealth. And this is opposing everything in his second house, which is the money from all of his, corporations and all of that stuff. So those things, when an eclipse comes along, it causes you to, whoops, I shouldn't have done that. Let me go back to where I was. Sorry, that looks horrible on the screen. So an eclipse forces you to change. And, oh, whoops, that's not the eclipse. I'm sorry. There we go. The eclipse forces you to change. So what I'm thinking now, this eclipse is happening at 19 degrees of Aries. So I'm thinking that once planets are hitting around 19 degrees, or maybe when they hit exactly 19 degrees of either Aries or any of the fire signs, so Leo or even Sagittarius, I think that's when we'll have a conclusion for him of some sorts. He'll have maybe a settlement on a case, or he'll have a very serious health event, or something will sort of bring this energy to a close when it hits that 19-degree mark. I mean, it could happen on the eclipse, but I don't see that very often. What you see is that when things tumble into the same degree as the eclipse, if the eclipse hits you hard, which this one does, then you have the climax, or the ending denouement of what's going on with that particular thing. And I'll stop sharing real quick so I don't make everybody crazy. Yeah, so there's a lot of I won't this go away. There we go. Whoops. I love StreamYard, but sometimes I click on things and there's something over the screen and I'm like, oh my God, how do I get rid of that? But anyway, yeah, so no bueno for him. No bueno.
Connie B asked over here about what a disaster of a human being he is, and what lesson did he teach us? And I'm glad she asked that, because that is what this whole thing is about. We have to go through this process. This was going to happen, hell or high water, because we need to learn something from it. And part of it is, there's many facets of what we're going to learn from this, but part of it is to recognize how easy it is and how influential somebody can be, that he came very close. And if he wins the election, it would be just horrible, but he came very close to being a dictator. That is what he wants to be. And that's where that's where he's going with this. And so we've got to find out, we can't believe him because he has continually lied, and we've been shown that. However, there's many people out there, his supporters, that believe everything he has said. So we have to figure out how to deprogram these people that have been, I don't think they'll ever get it. They're going to go through the rest of their life believing that the government is corrupt against their president, that they want this president to be, that the election was stolen. I mean, all this crazy nonsense. But for the rest of us that are not so delusional, we see what's happening. We see that he is saying every negative thing he can about Biden that actually is a reflection of what he has done, not what Biden has done.
Mm-hmm.
That Biden is the worst president we've ever had. No, Trump is the worst president we've ever had. That Biden has done nothing for the economy. No, Biden has done everything for the economy. And it was not Biden that put us in this position. It was the Trump administration that put us in the part of this position. And then the pandemic. And everybody keeps forgetting about the pandemic. That is why the economy went haywire, not because of Biden. And now that the Republicans want to, again, they keep talking about impeach. We gotta watch this, because it's just craziness. These are supposedly intelligent people that were voted in by thousands and thousands of voters to be a congressman or a representative, and they are doing crazy nonsense that's not helping the country. It's just they're so busy, they're caught up in stuff. So if in fact Trump doesn't get on the ballot, and whether he does or doesn't, once he is removed from the picture, finally the Republican Party can settle down. They will realize the mistakes they've made. Plus, there's going to be a lot of Republicans that will be removed from their position, just like that Santos guy. Or maybe not just like him, but they won't get voted back in. So there is so much, oh God, there's just so many things that we need to learn from this. So just pay attention and don't panic, because it is a process we have to go through in order for things to get better, and not just back to normal. I mean, once we have gone through this whole process, you will see things, especially going into 2025 and 26. Things will start to look so much better. But right now, we're right in the midst of it. This is just this is the volcano getting ready to erupt. I mean,
you're right. You're right. Because once he does either have a debilitating health event, or maybe even passes, or he's taken off the ballot for sure, or, the Republican Party doesn't nominate him as their candidate, any of those things, once they happen, the country's going to react. And I don't want to put out into anybody's mind how it's going to react. You can use your imaginations. It's not going to be great. And so 2024, we're still going to have that to contend with. But yeah, I do agree. Things will be better in 2025. Not right away, but they will be better, because the election doesn't take place until November. But
well, it will be better because of all these things that are occurring especially next year. With all these things that are going on, that's when things will start to change. And
well, also when you have like, why did he get in there? Well, this was foretold. This was destiny. He said he was going to clean up the swamp. He is the swamp. And this kind of corruption and dishonesty, and for the right psychopath to get in there, because this is building up over time on Fox News and with the GOP, and the dishonesty and the corruption in the government. And if you notice, and I look at people's lives, I do reading and healing, and if you see a life that's, I don't get a lot of those, but if you see a life that's even, where there isn't really much happening, much loss or trauma, or there's not really, big ups or downs, that is not a life where a person is really growing or evolving. So from every wound or trauma, when we walk through it and we heal it, there is an opening inside. I like to say to people, when their heart is broken, that is the cracks, is where the light can get in. And we're just at a time and period where it's time for us to grow and evolve. That's why everybody's talking about woke, and they don't want woke, and they do want woke, and they're awakening, and because our consciousness is raising for the time of Aquarius. We are evolving as a species, and this needed to happen on the most powerful country in the world. This needed to happen. It's like we weren't growing, and we weren't seeing all the signs. We weren't getting it. Some people, like you said, supporters or whatever of Trump, they're not even getting it. They're not growing. They want to go backwards. So we had time to make the changes, like in astrology. If you have a bad aspect, you work to address that. You make the changes. But we weren't doing that. So here we go. It was right as forecast to show up for planet Earth now. And this is a huge shift in awakening and consciousness. And I believe you're correct, Cleo, that we will have a more law and order government, that we will rewrite the way that people are elected. Look at our Congress. They're all paid off by lobbyists. Nobody trusts them, or like you're lucky if you have somebody in there who's actually. I remember that woman, Katie Porter, went in and she said the first day she got there, a lobbyist came up to her and said, "Oh, you're one of those." And she said, "What do you mean one of those?" "Somebody we can't buy off." Like, what? What has happened in our government? And so he said he was going to clean up the swamp. Well, he was the swamp, So why did this happen for us? Because we weren't getting the lesson the other way. So here we go. That's where we've arrived. But I do believe we will make it through this, and we will be a better country and a better world. But so it's not our fault. But that we were listening, but we can be a part of the solution by being awake, by voting, by being involved in our communities, by being good stewards of our own energy and our family or our community or whatever you do. And everyone can do their part. It's kind of an all hands on deck situation, whether you're cleaning up garbage at a park or feeding people at a homeless shelter or taking care of pets or helping your children with school, whatever you're bringing, or saying prayers, running for office, voting, vote, donate to campaigns. So there's something that prayer, I do prayer meditation. I help people to come into their higher awareness of consciousness, or heal with, like Colleen was saying for her group, like, how do you heal when traditional methods aren't working? Like what is the core issue that you're dealing with? And then sometimes when people get that, it just goes away. Like, oh, that whatever it was, it's a soul lesson, a healing. And so anyway.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. That is just right on. I mean, because yes, and by going through this process, like you're talking about, some people that don't get it, there's all these other people, like our chatters. I mean, like most other people in the country do get it, and they keep trying to, they keep hearing this stuff on the news that brings them down, and then they're like, well, no, that doesn't make any sense, and then they go back up, and then it's up and down and up and down. But once we get through this, it will raise the energy of all the good people that are trying, people are just trying to do the right, get through this, do the right thing, raise their families, have a job, just normal everyday stuff. And now we're dealing with all this cuckoo-ness that it's very frustrating, and it feels like you just one step forward, two step back. But that's going to end. But it's just hold on tight. I think somebody said, I think it was Mel said, that somebody told him to just put on your seatbelt and get ready for a rough ride, because
the surgery regular, it's more stuff, like Colleen was saying, more stuff's going to come out. It's not going to get better all of a sudden overnight.
No.
And Rose Blue's saying here, I've had enough growing pains. Yes, that's why. Don't, if you want to watch the news, fine. If you're not into it, I don't, I have to be careful, because if you listen to that, it's like programming your brain in a lower vibration of whoa, whoa, whoa. And then you feel like, oh, I just have to get through this. Then shift your energy, shift your focus, and get into that already, because that's how we help. That's another way we support everybody, by supporting ourselves and being in our own alignment or balance. I wanted to look at Nikki Haley. We're going to look at what's happening with her. Because can I say what I see with her?
Yeah, go ahead.
I see Nikki Haley, shots fired over the bow, my guy said, but it didn't go over her. It hit her in the right leg, right below the calf. So our legs are what move us forward, and it's on the right side. So it's Republican. And this is, of course, metaphorically, she's not actually going to be shot, I hope. But I looked over, and it's Trump.
Oh.
So he's going to go after her as she becomes more, he's going to try to turn his supporters on her. And I feel like that's kind of why she won't win, because he's going to turn, what is he calling her? A bird brain or something? I don't know.
Yeah, bird brain. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like she is probably the most, lesser of several evils over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the abortion issue, and 45 knows this too. He's telling him, he put those Supreme Court justices in that did this. He said he was going to do this in 2016 when he was running. He said he was going to make abortion a crime that should be punished, which is really about women's health care and saving their lives. And now that it's come out and people know what, it's not pro-life. They don't care about saving babies and saving women. This is just controlling women's bodies. So he did this, and now he's saying, well, we ought to back off that. And Nikki Haley is probably the most moderate of all those. Well, we could do maybe, I don't know what she said, the latest thing, whatever. She's never been for free choice.
No, she doesn't.
So that's going to be their big downfall, I feel like, with lower offices. Because I heard the angels singing whenever that comes on. I watch the news and the abortion thing. The angels go, oh, it goes really high, and I'm like, they're like ringing in my ears. I'm like, okay, I get it. This is the issue that's going to bring young women out and women out, and even men, because they don't want their wives dying or being made sterile because they couldn't get the proper health care in a pregnancy that went wrong, so they can't have any other children. Or even a guy at a bar, like, how can you pick up a lady when you're like, I'm not going home with you because I'm not having an abortion, illegal abortion, or what? I mean, it puts a damper on everybody. I mean, it's life threatening for women, and it's just not.
It is, and it's been, what's so, and all of you I know remember. I mean, I was in high school. This was a political issue. Every friggin' presidential election since I could even think about voting has centered on the abortion issue up until maybe 20 years ago.
But and Nikki Haley is all, let states decide.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not going to fly. Men aren't going to vote for her. Trump's going to turn on her. So I don't see her making it. Shots fired over the bower into the leg. That's how I see her. And then she's limping with a bandage. So I don't see, like, it's not going to fly for her.
No. All right.
Well, that might just be the energy right now.
What?
That might just be the energy right now. She has got a lot of money coming up behind her. She's got big wigs.
She's still walking after she's wounded. So let's see. Is she going to make it to the nominee? Wounded?
Well, let's see what we got here. So here's her chart, and I'm just going to pull up my notes here because I did have a document with some notes about her stuff, and I wanted to get all, let's see, analysis. And so you're looking at her chart, right? So which chart do I have you on? I have, this is the presidential election chart. So I'll just tell you about the other things, and you can stare at her chart. Okay. I hope you can see it. Good. All right. And let me find her. She is down here, Nikki Haley. So on the solar eclipse, this shows that the eclipse is falling right on her natal Mars. So instead of like with Trump, he had planets opposing his natal Mars. She's got the eclipse right on her Mars, which is a pretty personal planet. So this is definitely going to affect her. So something big is going to be happening for her on the eclipse. Also, the eclipse is opposing her natal Uranus. Uranus is a very key planet with all of these bozos. For some reason, all of the Republican people who are out in the news right now have very prominent Uranus planet, which is the planet of chaos, by the way. And transiting Pluto is going to fall on her sun. This is a big downer. This is not going to help her at all. This is not, it's not like it's going to stop her from doing things. It means that it exaggerates everything that she's doing. So when she's making these statements about abortion, they're going to come off just super exaggerated, which is probably going to turn off voters. But she's been going through a transformation for years because of that Pluto. And also she's got transiting Mercury squaring her sun. So she's going to be tripping over her words in a big public way, or she may be so critical in her speech that that's also a big turnoff to voters. It also trines her Jupiter, which some might think that's a benefit because Jupiter's a benefic planet, but it's also the planet of enlargement. So it could mean that it just blows up whatever she says just blows up in the media and becomes a huge, horrible event against her. Now, Venus is trining Neptune. So I think the result of that is that she's successfully hiding something to do with her money or her donors. And I don't trust that, all of a sudden she has these big donors, going behind her. So something is a little hinky there, I think, or at least it will be by the time of the eclipse or sometime between the eclipse and the election. Now, at the time of the Republican convention, that's July 15th, I did a chart for that too. She will have Mars and Uranus on top of her Saturn. Very, very difficult. Saturn is the taskmaster. It's how you learn lessons in life. It's also how you mature. And with Mars, physical energy, and Uranus, chaos on top of that, this means that her energy is going to be frenetic. It's going to be kind of all over the place. And even though it's going to trine the Sun and Pluto, again, Sun is going to put a spotlight on things. Pluto is going to make things very, very, very intense and difficult. So this could be the combo either that she needs to put her over the top for the candidacy, or it could be the combo of planets that just kind of sinks her. But if she has to pick a running mate, if she becomes the candidate and then at the convention she needs to pick her running mate, because I think that's what they usually do. I think they usually announce it at the convention. I think she could very well pick Chris Christie if she's the candidate. Even though they've butted heads before. She has a very lucky aspect in her chart. It's a grand trine between her Sun, Saturn, and Pluto. So she really is a Republican. She's not just putting that on, and she really understands how to wield power. This is a very, very powerful combination that she has. But you can bet if she had to debate Kamala Harris in the future, so say she loses, which I think she will in 2024, and say Kamala's running in 2028. If Nikki Haley had to debate Kamala on the stage, Kamala would win because Kamala's a trained attorney and Nikki is not. But she'd try to hold her own. I mean, she does understand power. Now, she also could have a temper issue. That's something else that I see in her chart. And all of that emphasis on her Mars is going to touch that off. But this also helps her think outside the box. So she is kind of a shiny object for the Republicans right now. She does seem to be the person that they might want to pick. But let's see what else I have here. She's under the influence of transiting Pluto, sitting on her Sun. This is both good and bad. This makes her seem very serious, like she's a serious contender, and she needs that. And Pluto is involved with her grand trine. So this gives her an unusual ability right now to see and to seize power when necessary. So I can't write her off. I can't say that she's, not gonna succeed. She's also relatively not impressed with her own abilities, which is kind of weird. But she's got this Saturn that's pretty much a downer in her chart. It gives her a lot of abilities and power, and she works hard, but she doesn't truly believe that she's all that in a cup of tea, which is kind of refreshing, against the backdrop of all those males who do think they're all that in a cup of tea. I wish I knew her time of birth. It would make the predictions a lot more accurate, but for the actual election, Pluto's going to trine her natal Pluto, and the Sun will be covered by Pluto. So I'm pretty sure this means that if she is the Republican candidate, she'll make a valiant run, but she won't win. And yeah, without a time, it's just really, really hard to see. So that's what I have to say about Nikki Haley. So lots to digest there.
Doesn't it change?
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Does it change the energy if she picks a vice president like Chris Christie, or somebody who has good energy? Then it changes the trajectory of those two.
Let me pull up. Let me find this other chart of her.
Because I get her as a no for president, but I mean, I can see how she looks good now, and she might be the nominee. Could be. But I don't feel like she could win the presidency.
No, I don't. I never saw her winning the presidency. I just saw her possibly winning the nomination. Run for president. But no way in hell would she win it. I'd still got Biden and Kamala Harris, they will win in 2024.
Can we
Yeah,
look at Chris Christie?
Nikki Haley doesn't have a winning chart for the presidency. It's
Yeah,
just not
that's what
there.
okay.
Yeah, it's just not there.
But
Yeah,
does she have a winning chart to get on the ballot in the first for the nomination?
she might. Yeah,
might.
that's what I was saying with all
I see her wounded by the Trumps, but she's still walking. She's bandaged up her leg, and she's still out there on the stage. She's the wounded walking.
Yeah.
I don't see her fall out or go away. Or when a candidate is not going to make it, they turn into cardboard to me, and then they're not real. They just drop over. Yeah. But I don't see her like that. I see her walking forward. She got her leg bandaged up. She's wounded by Trump with his words, but she's still on stage. So it's hard to tell. And it may not be decided.
If Trump sees her as a threat, he will just do everything in his power to make her look bad.
Yeah, he'll destroy anybody or the party.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got this. Hold on. I'm pulling up Christie's charts.
Chris Christie?
Yeah.
Are we looking at him for president, for nominee, or for vice president?
Well, we can ask all of those things. Let me just pull up this last chart. I think I need the election. There we go. Okay. So let's do a different share. All right. So we're going to stop that and we're going to share this. Share, and we're going to find Chris Christie. Okay. This is better. Oh, good. I learned a new trick. Great. Okay. So let me go back to the first one I want to show you is maybe this one. Yeah, this is the solar eclipse. So let me pull up my notes on him. And he's back here. Here we go. Okay, so we have a time for Chris Christie. So that makes it a little easier to look at his chart. So for the eclipse, he has both Jupiter and Uranus close to his descendant, which is the house for partnership. This means that he is in line for some sort of partnership, which is why I was thinking that he might be tapped for VP with Nikki Haley. So this means after the eclipse or maybe on the eclipse, there's a surprising windfall for Christie. Something really wonderful falls into his lap. Transiting Mars and Saturn will have just crossed his Jupiter, which is on his fourth house, the IC, which is very, very auspicious. It means a lot of work, but it also means a lot of energy and aggression and ambition moving towards his own personal desires. So he's got a lot of energy for that on the moment of the eclipse. Venus trines his moon, also a wonderful aspect, but it squares his Mars and sextiles his Saturn. So he's got this energy where he feels like he can take it on and he can move forward, but he might be a little too angry. The public might see him as too angry. And I've seen Chris Christie angry. He was our governor for many, at least 2 terms, and he can be kind of scary angry. Now, he's also got an aspect with Venus, and Venus rules money. Venus also will rule how you appeal to women. And women, I think, are the, dominant decision makers in most households. And his Venus makes an odd aspect to both Uranus and Pluto. Again, we have Uranus because Trump picks all these people to be around him who happen to have these very prominent Uranus placements. And so with the quincunx, this means that Christie's going to have a hard time with this idea of being a partner to anybody except Trump. In his mind, even though he criticizes him, he has not divorced the idea about being in the cabinet for Trump in case Trump wins, because he knows that he feels there's a chance that he might win. So that's kind of bad. Let's see. Now, the solar eclipse also forms a very, very interesting aspect in his chart called a yod. And the yod is only going to be effective for him if he has a yod in his chart, which he does. So this yod means that between the time of the solar eclipse and the election, he has to work out in his mind. He's going to have to come to some emotional changes about the way he feels about his politics in order to accept the role that he's going to be in. So taking the step down to VP as opposed to president, this is something that's going to be a little tricky for him to accept, but I think he might be able to do it. And this also, some of the other things that are involved here, like the North Node, has a feeling of fate about it, this evolution of Chris Christie. We will begin to see his destiny, and he will begin to see his destiny, and he'll begin to accept that he's never going to be president, but that he has a definite role to play in history. So he begins to see himself against the backdrop of United States history rather than the backdrop of the White House. He's a powerful guy. He's got powerful planets in his chart, in his 10th house for his career. They go well with the planets of the United States chart. So, you know, he's definitely going to be somebody that we're going to hear more from. Now, at convention time, Mars and Uranus cross his descendant, again giving him more energy and making him a magnet for someone tapping him for VP. Also, Jupiter is transiting his 7th house. That's a boon. That's luck. That's a reward, right? That's crazy that he has that, but he has it. So this is what's going to be happening. And you watch after that eclipse. That's April 8th. You'll begin to hear in the news people talking about Christie as a VP choice for the Republicans. You'll hear it because he's got too much planetary stuff going on. And this is not bad for a guy who, when he entered the race, people were going to write him off. They're like, oh, he won't last 3 months, right? Well, look at him. He's lasting and he's moving up. Now at election time, the transiting sun will trine his Mars and conjunct Uranus. This gives a feeling for him of things being unreal, of things being kind of surreal in his world. Sun will also sextile his natal sun, which makes him feel pretty powerful, but not the most powerful. Like he'll feel good, but he kind of knows, he kind of gets it that they're not going to win. Mercury is going to conjunct his moon. And the moon for Christie is a very powerful planet. I believe he has, let me go back to his chart really quick. He has the moon in his 1st house. So for him, the moon is super, super important. And so any aspect or event that touches his moon involves him. It touches his life. Okay. And so there's a lot of energy towards him as a leader. He may speak very, very forcefully, but he's got that Neptune kind of in a bad aspect to almost everything. And that's going to make things seem false, fake, pie in the sky, an illusion. Saturn's opposing his sun, so eventually he'll just get depressed about the whole thing. And he does, that Neptune can also produce a little magic dust. So he may, even with a Democratic winner like Joe Biden, he may be able to promote himself into the cabinet, even though he's a Republican. So I mean, I think Chris Christie has big power here. He has a lot of power, and he has a lot of really great planets coming up for the election. Not for president, but
I think Chris Christie has part of the reason why he's doing this in the first place is to expose Trump. He's the only one up there that has brought out the truth about Trump, right? And what's going on there. Plus, he was the only one. And it was controversial, but he actually backed up Nikki Haley during the debate. Mm-hmm. I love it that you're thinking that he could be a running mate for Nikki Haley. I mean, granted, neither one of those will be president, and they will not win. But that is actually a really good combination. And and when you say that Chris Christie may end up in some other capacity working for the Democrats, I can see that happening. He wants to be. He's tired of the division, and he wants to get rid of Trump because he knows Trump is the cancer that is just creating this mess in the Republican Party, and nobody can get above it. They can't. They can't get well. Because they're constantly put down by Trump. So yeah, this could definitely work that way. But no, I've never seen that Nikki Haley would be president, but she could be the one who ends up on the ballot. And that is what might be the thing that screws up Trump. I don't know. Maybe it could go a whole bunch of different ways, but one way or another, let's just hope that what I'm talking about is correct and that Trump will not be on the ballot.
Yeah, and whether or not she gets the candidacy and whether or not then Christie is tapped as a VP choice by anybody, he is coming to a point in his life where he has to accept the inevitable.
Oh, she froze. We don't want to say a payoff. You guys froze. You're still frozen. You were frozen, and I was talking.
Oh, I'm
Did
sorry.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You were both frozen. Okay. So
Okay.
I just started talking. Were you done, Cleo?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay. So I got this, that he really got in there to expose Trump, to take this away from Trump. And I actually see a payout. Now, I'm not saying that he took a bribe, okay, because that would be illegal. But there are ways that people can wink, nod, like you take care of me and then I take care of you, but they don't go out and do it. I mean, was it an actual bribe? No, I don't feel like cash changed hands. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to get him out there, because people don't, he's 45 destroying the Republican Party. So he got out there just to take this away from 45. Now, as far as running, when I pulled cards for vice president, I got this. He could do it, definitely do it for a woman, but he's going to be, I read the cards differently, so I don't know what these cards mean to other people, but definitely an unhappiness, a sadness of having to accept that I don't get the whole thing. I only get a part to play. But I do see his power. I feel like he's very powerful in his voice. And this is the Queen of Swords, and she's strong and she's powerful, but it's not the king, it's the queen.
Yeah.
And when I look at his energy, I see him talking, and I feel like he's going to keep talking, and he's bigger than life wheels rolling through, like he rolls up on his energy rolls up on something and he affects change. So I do see that he is powerful. He is talking. He's going to keep talking, and he may be a vice presidential candidate. Will he? I don't see him as this 2024. When I see him walking up to accept a nomination as winning vice president, he's going to fall down the stairs. It's not going to happen. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. And what I was saying when I was frozen is, regardless of whether he actually is on the ballot as VP for anybody or whatever, regardless of all of that, that period between the solar eclipse and the election is going to be a period of time where he is really assessing, what is my role in this? And that's when I feel that he comes to the realization, and he embraces it, that it doesn't matter that he's not going to be president. I feel he comes to accept that he won't be president, but I also feel that he comes to accept that he is going to play a role in American history. And once he accepts that and kind of surrenders to, okay, whatever I'm supposed to do, I'm here to do, I think then he may be actually possibly tapped for a position in the cabinet or the administration in some capacity. And I think he'd be great.
I think you're absolutely right, Carl and Sibyl. But I think that, he will get to a point where he's like, he will get the other Republicans and other people in general to wake up, get out of this Trump funk that you're all stuck in. And I think that he may be, that may be his whole purpose, not to be vice president, not to be president.
What about Ron DeSanctimonious?
Oh boy, Ron.
Do we really have to look at him? No, yeah.
I know. Let me see. I think I have some. Okay, let me set up the charts here.
He reminds me of Alfred E. Newman's little brother or something.
I see him that he's wearing this like pendant, this thing's like, this is who I am. This is my alma mater. This is who I am. But I feel like he's going to fall over. And I used to see something coming up with money around him. I saw him jet skiing in Florida. He's jet skiing along, and he's going to crash into the shore. People don't like him or something. He doesn't come across genuine. And if you saw him in that governor's debate, governor of Florida and New York, and Governor Newsom, he just mowed right over him. And he was just sitting there going, his face was turning red, and he was going, and he was just chopping him up into little pieces and exposing him. Newsom was, well, let me tell you what happened, what he did. And he was standing there going, and just like, I was embarrassed for him. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. He just rode right over him with a tractor and a trailer. And yeah, it was bad. But
He
what do you
must
see
have
about
he
him?
must have been one of those little kids that his parents just told him that every single thing he did was just fantastic. You know? Like he never got a filter. He never ever, ever, ever. Oh,
But you know,
Funny.
for some reason, that debate between him and Newsom, that he came out of that to where he did a better job on the last debate, on the supposedly the final debate of that section, but that he got some confidence in him from that. But I still see him as just a nothing. Just he,
Let's pull some
he,
cards.
he
I'll pull some cards. What are you seeing on the chart?
yeah. What do you see?
okay. So do you want to just? I mean, I think we can skip the election, right? We know that he's not going to make the election, so we can skip that one. But I'll do
What
the.
about for future? Where's he going to end up next?
Oh,
Is
I
he going
don't
to be in
know.
Florida? Or is he going to be somewhere?
Well, his gig in Florida goes on for a couple of years. I think he's Florida governor until like 26.
Yeah.
So he'll still be that. And they actually had a law in Florida that you couldn't run for other office while you were holding an office. Like you couldn't run for president while you were governor. And he just changed the law. So so who knows? Maybe he's just going to change his, time of governor. I don't know. But
You all heard that I just got all bad cards for him, but and I got this one card, problems at home. Now, did you hear that? I read on it on my other video, but did you hear that Christian Zinglinger, the head of the GOP in Florida, was just arrested or indicted for rape? His wife was started the Mothers for Sanctimonious Liberty or something. I don't know. Trying to get people to be against gay people, and then they want to ban books about race or anything that's not about them. But they admitted to having a threesome, and then he went back to the apartment and raped the woman. This is
you can't make this shit up.
DeSantis, Florida. Okay.
Yeah, DeSantis, Florida.
The GOP in Florida is having threesomes and doing rape, but they're banning books and saving our kids from, reading about history.
Yeah. It's the Handmaid's Tale before they started the government and the laws for the Handmaid's Tale, right? It just is. It's like they're just trying to figure out what do we really like to do, and then we'll make a law that it's okay for us to do it. You know? That's terrible.
Okay.
Well, so the eclipse, he has transiting Mars and Saturn opposing his natal Mercury, meaning that he's going to have a hard time communicating in the month of April and beyond, like he doesn't have that now. Probably because there's things that he doesn't want to say out loud, but he's going to say them out loud. So that's not good. And the eclipse itself makes an aspect to his natal sun that will make him feel just generally uncomfortable. Now, I have never seen an individual who is more uncomfortable than Ron DeSantis. He just, when you look at him, he just seems uncomfortable in every setting. So I think that's like the theme of his campaign. It's just one uncomfortable moment after another. And then to top it off, Venus, which is the things that he loves, will be making that same uncomfortable aspect to, again, his Mercury. So his talking in April is just going to be horrible. Everybody's going to hate what he says. Nobody's going to like it. And he is not even going to realize what a big gaffe he's making. It's like he probably thought he did good in that debate, and he did terrible. So generally not a good time for him. And the Republican convention also has more of this uncomfortable stuff going on. So more uncomfortable energy causing him to do really bad things with his money, possibly even illegal things. Because I know that a lot of his money dealings are very questionable and hidden. And people are thinking that, they're just illegal. They're just plain, that's what people are thinking. And he's got the sun at the time of the convention is kind of good for him. So he'll have some supporters, but then we get another one of those king kunkses, which is uncomfortability to his moon, which is his little heart, his feelings and how he's good, and then square his Mars. So he's going to be popping off and angry too to top it off. So this is not going to be good. So if he hasn't dropped out of the race by the Republican convention, look for him to have massive egg on his face and be embarrassed about everything that is said about him, to him, or that he says to somebody else. And in the past, he does not show a lot of grace in the wake of all of these embarrassing things. So I guess we're just going to see more of that. Not wonderful for him.
It's how could you be against Disney? I grew up in a really magical time watching all those movies. How can you be against Disney? Even my family members who are Republicans, they want their kids to watch the Disney movie.
Right.
And now they're going, what about Trump? Because they were saying, well, Trump's going to give us great health care. We're voting for Trump. I'm like, and now I'm like, well, do you still like him? And they're like, we don't want to talk about it. And the kids go, Mom and Dad don't watch the news anymore. They used to be, they were on Fox News. Like, well, they don't really want to watch the news anymore.
Well, I guess that's an improvement.
Yes.
Are they just not going to vote, maybe?
I don't know. What about you, Cleo? What do you get on DeSantis?
That he's a nothing. He's just, absolutely a nothing. And then this other group that you guys were talking about, Rose Blue says, I think, and then this is right, it's Moms for Liberty or something.
Yeah.
Moms for Liberty, right.
So she says Moms for Liberty or assholes with casseroles. Now,
can we say that?
Well, Rose did. Yeah, I thought that was perfect. Assholes with casseroles. But the whole thing is this Moms for Liberty is just an embarrassment to women across the country. It's just amazing what they're doing. But DeSantis, no, he's got the governor thing. After the governor thing, I think he's done all the way around. I think politics is done for him. Plus, he still might be getting in trouble by using money that was meant for the pandemic and for other things and using it in the wrong way. So, I don't see DeSantis doing anything. I mean, I was really surprised when a few people had said about that debate that DeSantis actually did a better job than he had done before. But they also said that Nikki Haley won the 3 debates before that and that she got a little quieter on this one. Well, maybe she's just, I don't know. I mean, I watched it because I wanted to see what she was going to do. But DeSantis, forget about it. He'll be.
Oh, go ahead.
He'll be out of it. He'll be out of it, and we won't even be talking about him after a while because he'll be not in politics and not doing anything. And I don't know. He's an idiot.
Can we look at one more, Biden?
Yeah, I just pulled up his chart.
And maybe wrap it up.
Geez, I must have been psychic. I knew you were going to ask for that. Okay. So I have Biden on the eclipse and I have Biden on election day because, we don't need to look at the Republican convention for him. So let me come back here and share my screen with my charts. Okay, Joseph Biden. Here we go. So here is our beloved president on the time of the, whoops, what did I do to the screen? Did I screw it up? Can you guys still see the chart?
Yeah, it's not as big as it was on the other ones.
Yeah, let me go back to, how's that?
There we go.
Yeah, okay, I just clicked the wrong thing. All right, so let me just refer to my notes just to make sure I can make this a little faster because if I just sit there and meander over everything, I'd be here for an hour. Okay. Where did Joe go? Where did Joseph go? Sorry. Oh, okay. All right. So Joe, during the time of the eclipse, this doesn't hit his chart an awful lot. There isn't a lot that it really connects to, which is good. This means it's not going to do him any damage. It's not going to make him have any big gaffes out in public. Pretty much he's going to be just kind of okay with everything. He does have in his transiting his 6th house, he has Jupiter and Uranus, which means that he could be enjoying some really exciting um, um, everyday things with his family, like outings that are really, really fun. He could be doing a lot more of some kind of physical exercise, like biking or hiking or playing basketball or something like that. It may just be really, really fun for him. And I don't see that it's going to be like bad in any way, because they've passed the point where he could possibly like have an injury or fall off his bike or something. So he's not going to have any of that. So that's really, really good. And as the month progresses, um, I think it just kind of gets better for him.
What about Hunter and all his problems that they're trying to connect him to impeach him?
I do have Hunter Biden's chart here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And I also did his chart for the solar eclipse, and he does have some connections there. He's got all of the planets for the eclipse are showing up here, and we do have a time for him and Joe. So these are pretty good, reliable charts. So all of this cluster of planets here is coming up, approaching his Saturn. So later in April might not be really great for him. But then again, this guy hasn't had a good couple of years. I mean, this has been very, very difficult for him. He has his natal Pluto is in opposition to Neptune. So if there was ever a time when this guy was going to relapse, it would have been sometime in this decade. And he's not. So this guy is really strong. Now, one thing that I saw in his chart that I thought was really interesting is there's many, many, many connections to his Saturn and his moon. So this is a person who has tremendous karmic connections to his father. His life plan agreement was to, be here pretty much as a foil for his father. And his connection with his father is very, very good, but the outside forces obviously are very, very stressful. It's also very hard. To have a very famous father. I think a lot of people, especially men that have famous fathers, it's always a very, very difficult relationship. Remember Ronald Reagan's son, Ron Reagan, who was the dancer. I mean, that was just, God, would that ever stop being headlines, And they didn't even try to, impeach Ronald Reagan, but boy, did they roast his son. And his son bore him no ill will. And I think it's very similar in this relationship between father and son. There's no ill will. They realize that it's the outside world. And he's been fighting this public stuff. See, here we have Mars. This is sort of the attack of the public here on his life. And the North Node is right here on his midheaven, which is his legacy. He knows that his destiny is tied up with his dad. This is something they have both accepted a long time ago. And they realize it's a kind of partnership for the two of them. And in that partnership, they both get a lot of strength. They both pull a lot of strength from it. But it's a karmic thing. So while, yeah, he doesn't love what the Republicans are doing to him, he really hates it. But knowing that this too shall pass, that these guys that are doing this to him are just assholes, and they're only going to be doing it for a finite period of time, helps him to withstand it. So while it's not a lovely time for him, he's going to be okay. And further on in the decade, and it's many years down the decade, it's got to be maybe 8 years from now, when Pluto really hits his sun and Venus, this guy will reinvent himself, transform himself, or he will begin that process. And, his dad will probably be gone by then, but who knows? I mean, Joe Biden could live to be 110. We don't know. But Hunter has a lot more growing to do in this lifetime. And all the things that he's going through now are helping him to figure it out, figure out what he's got to do. So that's him during the solar eclipse. So I do think it's going to be not a terrible eclipse for him. He does have a couple of connections with planets here, but he doesn't actually have a lot of things in those degrees. I mean, no, he does, the moon and Mercury. So it's going to be a tough eclipse for him. But
So do you see anything that says that Hunter Biden and his dad are exchanging money and doing underhanded business deals. That this is what this is what the Republicans are saying about those two. And plus that Hunter Biden, I know he was in trouble for taxes and stuff, but they said that he paid the taxes. Do you see
Yeah.
something in there that, what in the world? Is it just nonsense he's got to go through, or what?
It's nonsense that he's got to go through. And he he has this little connection here to the eighth house, which has to do with taxes. And Pluto is going through that eighth house right now. So they're going to dig and dig and dig. And they found what they were going to find. They found the drug addiction. They found the payments for guns, payments for hookers, payments for drugs, payments for this, payments for that. And, they're painting it with a very, very dirty brush. But Pluto is, they're not Pluto. They're the Republicans. And, I wouldn't be surprised if several of the Republicans who are doing this sort of persecution on him, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 8 years, the IRS is doing a persecution on them. It would just turnabout would be fair play, right? And
Right.
so, I do think it's very hard for him. He is going through something, but it's not something that it is unexpected in a way, but it is something that he's kind of had to deal with most of his life. And he has the undying support of his mother and father, and that means everything. So, he's good with it. And he has put his addictions behind him. I mean, not that any addict doesn't have to fight it all the time, but the fact that he hasn't succumbed to it by now is really telling. He's strong. He's not going to go through any of this other garbage. He's going to be okay.
I feel like they're really using Hunter to get at Biden because they don't have anything else.
Yeah, they don't.
They just use this, and I feel like they're going to try to tarnish his name. And yes, this case will end. I see him making some kind of a deal. So I don't see much prison time, maybe even days. I feel like it's community service. They said, all these felonies. He paid the taxes. They're just doing this to get at Biden. Somebody got tipped off or something. And in some weird way, it actually protects Biden, because if Biden doesn't win, if Biden were to, if 45 were to win, which I don't think he will, they would still go after these people because they like to, and they feel they have, a good reason. So he's kind of like, it's a karmic thing, like he's kind of taking the hit for his father in some way.
Yeah.
And I feel like Biden loves his son. He's very empathetic. And I feel like he doesn't show it, but this really hurts him. And they know it's painful. And so they're going to keep doing it as long as they can to him, even though the case will probably in 2025 come to a conclusion. It'll be some kind of I see him signing a document in court. He makes some deal with, paying fines or something. It's not they really trumped it up, but I feel like it hurts Biden. And I feel like for the rest of his life, he'll kind of have this brand that everybody knows that, he did that. Yeah. I feel like coming out when people become less, the younger generations are not so judgmental. I feel like people are opening up more and they're opening up their hearts more. And I don't feel like they're going to judge him so much, but it's like he'll always have this, that, he went through this, but it is a karmic agreement. I agree with that. It's a karmic thing that they're supporting each other. And I do feel like their relationship is really strong. But as far as Biden, I really feel like women or Kamala Harris is going to pull him through this. I kind of don't see, I feel like he's fighting. I don't see somehow, because of the way the Electoral College is set up or something, and all the fake news out there, and I don't see it like a huge victory for him. But I feel like women, once again, the abortion issue, and I feel like Kamala Harris. It'd be interesting. I've run out of time tonight. We've been going on for almost an hour?
An hour and a half.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But I would be interested to look at Kamala Harris's chart.
Oh yeah. Her chart.
Another time.
Yeah, her chart is good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I've heard some lawyers also talking about, how are they even bringing this charge against Hunter Biden when he already paid the taxes?
Yeah,
I mean,
because
some
somebody
people-
tipped somebody off.
right.
Somebody.
But who's the judge? Is it a Trump judge? Is it somebody that was paid off as a judge?
There's dark money.
Yeah.
There's dark
exactly.
money that's foreign money, and there's dark money that's American money.
Mhm.
Is it foreign? I feel like it's foreign dark money. I feel like there's somebody. Now, you can't just go pay off a judge, but they have ways of doing things where
Yes.
people get the message or whatever. And so I feel like there's something underhanded here, but it might work against them because it also makes the justice look better for 45 claiming, see, they're just going after me, when actually they are going after Hunter Biden. But I don't feel like he's going to be convicted of anything serious. It's just very hard and it's very stressful.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, and then they also want to question him behind closed doors, and he's saying, no, bring
Because he
everybody
didn't do
in.
anything.
Yeah, let's see what you got to say.
I mean, Biden didn't do anything. It's not
Right.
about Biden.
Right,
Well-
and you're saying that there's something underhanded going on, and Hunter Biden believes that himself, and that's why he wants to have this an open, public thing. And go ahead, ask me questions, but let everybody else hear the answers too. And they're not going for it.
Yeah, it's a mess. We could do a whole show about Hunter and Joe Biden because there's so much crap going on there between the two of them. Well, yeah, it is almost an hour and 40 minutes, and so I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch this on replay. So I think we better wrap it up here. Ladies, thank you so much for playing PoliTarology with me. I really enjoy that. Any final remarks? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, it really helps us to like and subscribe to
Very
the
good.
channels. We put a lot into this to get you, good messages. So it's we're gonna be okay. It was really fun to look at all these people, all this energy, though. There's a lot of good information. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for all the questions. I'm sorry I couldn't look at them or even answer anybody back because my mouse is not working and we're so busy looking at the energy.
We did have good questions.
Okay.
But
Cleo,
yeah,
Cleo?
I love what the chatters, as usual, they're coming up with stuff that gets you thinking, the stuff that I hadn't thought about. I love what they put in there. Plus, I love working with Sibyl. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're really funny, but you don't you don't say it like you're trying to be funny. But there's some things you come up with that are
Well, we have
hilarious,
to be. What good?
but then also very accurate and stuff. So you're different than some of the other readers, and I love what you do, and I really enjoy. I enjoy working with you. It's fun.
We have to play when we're doing this and play. Everybody out there, remember to play and have fun. It's Christmas. Well, every day could be Christmas, but you can't let this stuff get you down because it can be so heavy and so like, oh my God, when's it going to end? Like, what if it doesn't? What if it goes on for years? What if it goes on for we have a whole year of this? So you got to lighten up, have fun, get grounded, breathe, do something you enjoy. Don't look at this all the time but it is going to get better,
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
Turn off the news and go play with the fairies.
And
I
I love reading with you too, Cleo. Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Really good, great readings today. Good.
Yes,
readings, both of you.
We did. Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Okay.
Sibyl. It's really fun having you on, and thank you, Cleo. Okay, everybody, we're going to end it now. See you next time, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There we go.
Got it.
Okay, how do I do this here? I think I do this.
I'm
Yes.